So, we're diving into a story today that's, well, it's pretty intense. It really blurs the line between a spiritual awakening and, honestly, a flat out nightmare. We're talking about the testimony of a woman named Queen Okeoma and her claim that she had to be literally dragged to the gates of hell just so she could be saved. And really, this one sentence says it all, doesn't it? He had to show me hell to get my attention. I mean, this wasn't some gentle little nudge from above. No way. In her telling, this was like spiritual shock therapy, a terrifying but necessary experience designed to completely force her onto a different path. Okay, so if we're going to get a handle on just how big of a shock this was, we first have to look at the life she was living before, the life she was being shocked out of. So, who was Queen Okoma before all this happened? Well, her ambition was pure Hollywood. I mean, she wasn't just dreaming of being an actress. Oh no, she wanted to be a superstar. She talks about this life completely dedicated to chasing fame, going to auditions for huge movies like Charlie's Angels, and it was all driven by this really powerful desire for, money and fame. And right here, this is where you can see the real conflict at the heart of her story. On one side, you've got this glamorous, worldly goal, but on the other side, her own brutal assessment of her spiritual life. She called herself a hell-bound sinner. And the craziest part is, she claims she knew it. She knew exactly where she was headed, even as she was running full speed in that direction. And she doesn't hold back on the details of this so-called sinful life. She's brutally honest. She talks about having a man problem, about heavy smoking, drinking, just endless partying. But the real core of it, the thing she really condemns herself for, is this idea that she was taking the gifts God gave her, her beauty, her mind, and just deliberately using them to go against the faith she was raised in. It was a conscious act of defiance. And that brings us to the moment where it all just changes. This was not a slow, gradual awakening, not at all. According to her, it was a sudden, almost violent, divine intervention. A whole series of out-of-body experiences that took her right to the very edge of hell. So the first warning she got, it was completely otherworldly. She says that right in the middle of doing something she knew was sinful, she saw, in vivid color, what she calls a scribe angel. Just try to picture that for a second. This figure in a white gown, covered in precious stones, holding a quill pen, and just meticulously writing down every single one of her sins. Talk about a wake-up call. And from there, the visions just got more and more intense. Next thing she knows, she says she was literally ripped from her body and taken to this huge hall with walls made of diamonds. And it was packed with people all wearing these same diamond clothes, looking like the absolute picture of perfect Christians on the outside. But she says she was told it was all just a show. And this was the chilling secret of that diamond room. The message she got was that all these people, we're talking bishops, pastors, prophets, you name it, were frauds, spiritual fakes. That no matter how holy they looked on the outside, their hearts were evil continuously, and every single one of them was on a direct path to hell. But the journey still wasn't over, not by a long shot. Next, she finds herself totally naked, standing on this platform in front of a being she just knew was God. And her description of this is just fascinating. She says it was this huge figure, maybe 100 feet tall, but it wasn't solid. It was more like an outline of a human being. And inside it was just swirling water, no face, nothing you could really recognize. And then the gates of hell itself swing open right in front of her. And at that moment, she says God told her one of its most horrifying secrets. The darkness you see in hell, it's not just the absence of light. He told her the darkness is alive, a separate, conscious, purely evil entity. The scale of the horror she describes is just mind-boggling. She saw these flames of colors that don't even seem natural, like green and purple. And she was told that this fire was burning 20,000 times. Yeah, you heard that right. 20,000 times hotter than any fire we have here on Earth. And it's fed forever with brimstone. So right then, the platform she's standing on starts to tilt. It's sliding her, feet first, right towards this inferno. And it's here, I mean, literally at the edge of being destroyed, that she says she got her final command. This was the whole point of this entire terrifying journey. And she uses this quote to try and explain the sheer power of that moment. When God speaks, you shut your mouth. I mean, there was no room for negotiation, no arguing, no pleading.
The voice she heard was pure, terrifying authority, and it demanded one thing and one thing only: total submission.
And here it is, the final ultimatum, delivered just inches away from the flames. The message was basically this: I'm going to use you to save others, no matter what. That part isn't up for debate. The only choice she had was whether she would serve him with her whole heart or just be used as a tool, and then, when he was done, be thrown into hell herself. What a choice, right? And just like that, poof, she was back in her body. But think about it. How do you possibly go back to a normal life after something like that? The short answer? You don't. The change for her was instant and absolute. She says she woke up, but she couldn't move a muscle. She was completely paralyzed from the neck down, just trapped inside her own body, but with the image of hell still burning in her mind. And when she could finally move again, it was just an explosion of pure terror. She just started screaming and screaming and screaming. Her entire view of the world was just gone, shattered. But right in the middle of all that terror, she says another voice came through, a totally different one, a gentle voice that she knew was the Holy Spirit, basically offering her a way out, a new path forward. And her reaction? It was immediate. The first thing she did, she walked straight to her kitchen, grabbed her cigarettes, her lighter, her ashtray, threw them all in the trash, and begged God to just make her hate the habit forever. Okay, so you would think that would be the end of it, right? Her personal journey was complete. But no. Okeoma claims she was then shown other scenes from hell. This time, it wasn't about her. It was meant to be a set of stark warnings for the rest of us about what happens to specific people. And one of her most specific and honestly most graphic accounts is a vision she says she had of the rapper Biggie Smalls. In her telling, Jesus told her Biggie was in hell because he rejected him and used charms from a fetish priest to get famous. And the torment she describes is just gruesome. It's this endless loop. His body gets crushed in a juicer until it's pulp. Then his spirit body instantly snaps back together, fully intact, only for him to be returned to his cell to be burned from the inside out by an explosion of fire. Over and over and over again, forever. So you take all of these terrifying experiences together, and what you get is a very specific roadmap. Okeema's testimony lays out what she now believes is the one and only path to avoid hell. And let me tell you, it is an incredibly narrow and very, very strict path. And here are just some of the things that, according to her testimony, are a one-way ticket straight to hell. The list is pretty long, and it's absolute. Things like unforgiveness, worshiping what she calls false gods, like Buddha or Muhammad, being homosexual or transgender, not tithing, living what she calls a double life, preaching one thing but doing another. In her view, there are absolutely no gray areas. These are hard and fast rules. Now, she puts a huge emphasis on one of these in particular, forgiveness. She claims it's the number one reason that so many people who call themselves Christians still end up in hell. And for her, the test for true forgiveness is intense. It's absolute. She says you've only truly forgiven someone when you can talk to them again as if they never, ever hurt you. Like the memory of the pain is just gone. So all of this leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? This whole story is built on a foundation of pure terror, of absolute power and strict, unwavering obedience. So what does a vision of God's justice that is this frightening tell us about the nature of faith itself? Is real faith born out of love, or, as this testimony seems to suggest, is it forged in the fires of fear?